Wonderful. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for everyone who is joining. This is our Rise Up Reveal, the show and tell for the RUAC Spoon Challenge 39. And we have Miles here today who provided us with the template. And it's an incredible kind of combination of different Viking era style spoons, his own creation. So Miles, I'd love to just have you do an introduction to yourself, kind of what brought you to carving, and then to talk a little bit about this spoon and maybe your reenactment as well. So I'm going to have everyone take a moment just to mute yourselves so that we can focus on one screen. And I'm going to spotlight Miles here so that we can hear a little bit about the spoon. Thank you, Miles.
Okay, hello everyone. So, where should I start? How did I get into this? Six years ago, for my birthday, my fiance Morgan bought me a pair of Mora knives, a 120 and a 164, I think it was. I actually got them a little bit earlier than my birthday, but she was looking at them in the box, and the 164 didn't come with any protection on the knife, and she cut herself with them.
Oh, no.
I hadn't even got hold of them, and they'd already drawn blood. As we said, well, you might as well have them now. So, and that was June 2016. I bought an axe from a market stall where we were living. Started off with first spoon I ever carved was actually out of seasoned cedar, which was interesting. And I've kind of gone in between spoon carving and other things. I did a fair bit with pallets for a while because it was free and I was starting out and didn't want to spend money on wood and mess it up trying to make something. I soon gained confidence then, back and forth with like spoon carving and making a bit of furniture and things like that. Then started taking the spoon carving more seriously about 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Where we were living when I got the spoon carving knives to start with, we did have like half of what we would call a garage, a single car garage in the UK. So it was about 8 foot by 8 foot space, which was enough to have a couple of power tools and have a chopping block and all the sort of spoon carving paraphernalia as well. But then we had to move where I had no workspace at all. So I had to do it all out in the garden. And because of that, having limited space, I started getting into the spoon carving more. I've been interested in history pretty much all my life. One of my earliest memories in relation to woodwork is my mum actually building me a Viking longship a very basic one out of wood that she made, and then went, here, I'll have that. It was either a Viking longship or a Greek trireme. It was one of those two. I'm fairly convinced from the sail shape that I remember that it was a Viking longship. But and then I've completely lost where I was going with this. With the history side of things, I've been a history sort of nerd, if you will, most of my life. So with the woodwork I started, and the reason that Morgan had bought me the knives is because I used to ride BMX and I had to give it up because the job, I got a bit bored of it, and the job I then had was a permanent afternoon shift. I didn't really have time. I sold the bike. I didn't really have a hobby, and she thought, well, here's something that looks fairly interesting on Pinterest. Give this a try. And that's how it started. But the history, the reenactment stuff comes into it probably about 4 years ago, where I got to know a local Viking reenactment group down here in South Wales, who I just do have some interactions with, not so much as I used to, because I'm sort of a bit busy to be part of the group. I was part of the group and then left because I just didn't have time to dedicate. But I then, with moving to where we then lived 2 years ago, not having the workshop space, getting more involved with and more interested in historical woodwork, and then started carving spoons from history. So where's the first lot of Viking ones I did? These are all cherry. These are based on one from Berka in Sweden, which is not far from Stockholm. So they have that sort of handle shape, fairly small bowl. That's just how I've done them. These aren't exactly direct copies because there's no dimensions for these anywhere on the internet. Just sort of went, yeah, it looks about that big, and went for it. Winged it, and it sort of turned out okay. I sold quite a few of these. People like them because they're not too big or whatever, but that's one that Morgan did a little bit of chip carving on.
Nice. Oh, that's gorgeous.
decoration was a massive thing for
Mhm.
people of the Viking Age and before. If you could decorate something, you did, because it stood out. It made you look more prominent in society or whatever. So that is one spoon shape that is based on an actual
Mhm.
historical piece that is a direct copy. Here's another one, which is a bit later on. These are from Novgorod.
Nice.
He's actually in, where's Novgorod? Where's Novgorod now? Russia. But
Mm.
that would have been part of the Rus Vikings, as they're known. They were a mixture of people who were Slavic, so Eastern European, and Swedish.
Mhm.
But it was very similar cultures, lots of interaction between Scandinavia. So that's walnut, it's English walnut.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
That's from the 1100s. There's a story about wooden spoons from Novgorod as well. There's another one in cherry with a sun wheel. That's a Bronze Age, Nordic Bronze Age symbol. So that'd be 3,000 years ago. That symbol was knocking about around Northern Europe, being carved into rocks. And there's another one with serpent, maybe the Osberg ship head, which I've done very badly because I'm not very good at colrosing. But there's a story about wooden spoons coming from Novgorod. There was a huge banquet. So I think it was early 11th century, so early thousands, where the prince in Novgorod invited a lot of nobles and high-standing chieftains and such to a huge banquet, gave them all wooden spoons to eat with. They took it as a massive insult because people of high stature should be given silver spoons.
Oh,
And then
wow.
a massive fight erupted in the middle of the banquet
No.
because they were given wooden spoons to eat with instead of silver, and it all turned into a huge brawl.
Oh.
That's the legend of it, which I could well believe because people didn't take insult lightly in that day and age. Still don't, of course.
I could
So,
only dream of being at a banquet and being given everyone what
oh yeah,
foods now. How
I
cool
know
is
it would be
that?
wonderful, wouldn't it?
But
But
yeah.
yeah, there's always one. So the spoon that the template is from is a mixture of several different ones from ranging from Birka in Sweden, Novgorod, because I think there were about, oh, I've forgotten the number. I really should know this. I think there was about 600, possibly. I'll have to check this at some point. And please check yourselves if you have a hand free or a computer or something free, because I don't at the minute because I'm using the phone, I'm using my mobile phone for this. There was a few hundred wooden items found from Novgorod from around the 11th century because the soil conditions allow wood to survive fairly well in there. And a fair few. It was about, I'm just going to make up a number. Sorry, I'm just going to say about 90 or so wooden spoons. I'm going to have to check. But yeah, there was quite a few wooden spoons found from the digs at Novgorod.
Yeah.
And there were, I think, 18 varieties of spoon as well. So it wasn't just that one. There was about 18 different spoon shapes that were found.
That's cool.
So that was the original one of these that I was going to do. But I find personally this shape to be a huge pain to actually carve.
Yeah.
If you were to do it to the original,
Mhm.
it's a bit of a nightmare because this isn't the shape or the profile from the side that the original shape was. So that's why I said to Chuck, can I just do one that I've kind of made up? That's a
Yeah.
bit of there were several, and he was like, yeah, fine, whatever, just do whatever you think's best. So that's what I went with. But this shape that the template is from, that's a mixture of several from Novgorod,
So.
Birka, Jorvik, which is York in northern England.
Mhm.
There's one or two other places as well. I've had a bit of a strange morning and my head's a little bit fried.
Yeah.
So we're
I
forgetting things.
that spalted beach spoon that you have with the spalt line going down is
Oh,
absolutely gorgeous. And I think this shape lends itself to having that beautiful wide handle for that
oh
decoration.
yeah.
Like
Oh
you
yes.
said, being able to really get excited about showing off the spoon, the wood, and the decoration. I love that that's, linked to the culture and the heritage of that age and era and brought into the spoon that you've designed. So really, really gorgeous work
Thank
on
you.
Miles.
I did send Marla a link to let's put there, never mind. The information, I've got the information here about how many There you go. 650 spoons were found in Novgorod.
Yeah, so cool.
20,000 wooden artifacts and 650 spoons in that 20,000. So good soil preservation conditions. Hell of a find that. But yeah, this that's the one. I don't know if anyone's seen it. The YouTube video that I put up of how to carve one of these.
Yeah,
It was linked, I think, in somewhere in a Rise Up and Carve post. It's on my YouTube channel, which is West Saxon in Wales.
that's
That's
gorgeous.
with a sort of a modern bind rune on there. Colrose, just these simple straight lines, nothing too fancy. Because I'm not very good at the colrosing. So that's sycamore. It's European sycamore. That one is beech.
Yeah.
Got a couple of others that are just plain beech with a bit of colrosing on them. That's, don't know if it's really showing up very well. Can you see the
Yep.
the boat on there?
Yep. Just lightly, but yeah, you can see that. That's beautiful.
It's a bit faded. I don't think I went deep enough. But that's like a Bronze Age carving of a canoe or maybe a boat or ship of some sort. And I got this beauty. That's spalted alder.
That's brilliant.
And use this more as a serving spoon. It's got a really thick rim on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's one of my favorites that I've carved of these so far. I've sold quite a few of them as well to reenactors.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a very cool thing for them to have.
Yes. There are some people who say that I've had a few arguments, unfortunately, with some reenactors, and they say, well, it's not direct copies of exact spoons. Like, well, do you think every single person who was carving spoons 1,000+ years ago did every spoon exactly the same? Well, no, of course they didn't. Why? This is another reason why I didn't provide a side profile as well on the template. So I just wanted people to do whatever they fancied or thought would be best for it, depending on the piece of wood they have, of course, because with that reason. But I think it was important with this template as well that people could run with a side profile and do what they want with it, rather than go, okay, I should do it like this. And people come and go with sticking with the templates I know anyway. But yeah, that's another reason why I didn't provide a side profile with it, just to see what sort of things people can come up with, because everyone has their own ideas and their own ways of doing things, of course. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see what people have come up with for this.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Miles, for that background. Again, this challenge, so much fun. And I love that tie into history as well. So I'm going to pop back into the gallery view here.
Okay.
Before I switch and have folks raise hands, any quick questions for Miles? And then you can ask them, obviously, as you're doing your show and tell as well, when you're doing your individual spoon. Okay, perfect. So if folks want to raise their hand, I'll choose who to go next, and then I'll highlight you. All right, John in Colorado, and then John in Scotland. I'm going to add spotlight for you, John. And if you can take yourself off mute, perfect. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey guys, I just basically copied the template as best I could, just to get it to look, like his layout. But then with all my love of the Viking era, I had to go a little bit farther. So I made the I'm going to turn my phone on so we can see this.
Yeah, get some light on that. That's beautiful.
So,
Oh,
gorgeous.
So what is the term for this, Miles? This
that would be. It looks. There's about 6 different art styles, from different eras of the Viking Age, so to speak. That looks like an Ernest style dragon. That sort of art style comes from one of the stave churches, which I think still stands now.
A stave church? I call it a stave. Is it Steve? It's close to one of those that's right on the church frame, but it's not. But it's I kind of wanted to capture it. I tried like 4 or 5 different designs, but having this
Nice.
narrow, tall space and trying to go find something for it is really hard. So I finally found one I really like. So had a really good time finally getting this to lay out properly. This is spalted poplar.
Ooh.
I soaked it overnight in baking soda and then cold roasted it and absolutely love it.
Yeah, John, that coal rosing is phenomenal. There's not a single straight line, it feels like. Like, look at all of those interlocking curves. Really, really beautiful.
Once, I think people have said it before, once you lay out your design, the cold roasting part's a lot easier. It's just getting it to lay, the curves the way you want them. It's the design that's the hard part.
Mm. Yeah, those especially the later art styles like the earnest art styles from the Steve Church. I've had a go at drawing them. I'm not the best artist in the world, but I've had a good go. Oh, it's so difficult.
Yeah,
When you
yeah,
were
it's
masters of the
amazing.
craft. That is really
Yeah.
beautiful. I really like that.
Yep. Thanks, guys. That was it for me.
Yeah, thank you, John. Fantastic. Okay, I am going to remove the spotlight, and John, you are next in Scotland, so you are up.
Oh, yeah, these
Hi.
were quite good to make as well. So I started off, I did them in different order. A little shallow one,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's in cherry but it's
Ooh.
That is then
with
beautiful.
it's quite hard to see chip carving because I left it quite plain because it's quite nice cherry.
Mm.
And then I had a big, I think it was copper birch we call it. It's just a birch with copper bark and more kind of like that kind of funny shape.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
red, like milk paint, and then chip carved through it, and then a lot sanded a bit just to like highlight it a little more. But it's got this weird grain in the bowl, whatever. I don't know what's.
Huh.
I think it's just the way it dried and oxidized slightly differently. And I've got same again, but deeper. So that's like probably two mouthfuls for spoon, and then bit of
Ooh.
corrosion and chip carving, which I don't really corrose at all, and it's just rubbed over with some black pigment.
That's fantastic.
And then another cherry one, which is the one I actually did first, and it's really deep. So it's like,
It's like a cookser.
yeah,
Oh.
well, that's usually what I like doing is cooks is, and it's actually really brick. Oh, there it goes, and
Mm.
it's tip carved all the way through it as well, and it's really it's got a nice bit of like difference between the two grains.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is yeah, it's more of you could probably get a shot in that one and
There you go.
no, I quite enjoyed that end up, but no, it's quite good. And it's England inning started off chip carving decorating. I didn't like it at all, and I'm slowly. I still don't particularly like, but I'm getting better or getting forced to do it more. So the more you do it, it's easier to get. But as everybody keeps saying, laying it out is the hard part. Once you've laid it out, it's just following it. But which is why all mine are just completely random because I can't lay them out very well, so I just randomly do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I'll
that
keep
was
at it because it works
my
lovely.
fourth end up. Sorry.
Keep at it. It works lovely.
But yeah, that's only the last year I've started to say, oh, his nag. So it's his fault. That's before I end up doing.
I really
John,
like the
those are
way.
fantastic. Oh, sorry, Miles, go.
Let's go on. Go on.
I was just gonna say those are fantastic, and I love that you played with the profile.
Yeah,
Miles was saying leaving that off the template gave a lot of creative freedom and making each of those individual ones. You've gone from the thinnest profile
yeah.
to that deep
Well, that's
one.
with
Cool.
that when we look at it, it just looks flat until you actually put it sideways and find out it's. But
Yeah.
when you see them side by side, even though it's different, similar cherry, but yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, no. So just we play with it and scoopiness. So no, that was. I quite enjoyed them. They're good to do.
That's good. Yeah, really good.
Yeah. That's me done. Nothing else to say.
Thank you. No, that's fantastic, John. Thank you so much. All right, I am back into the group. If we could have someone raise their hand for who is next. All right, Finley. And then we will have Larry after that. So I'm going to spotlight you here quickly. You're up, Finley.
Hey, well, I missed the memo on the decorations are really important, but I'm all about the grain, so I'm a grain chaser. And
Yeah.
this little cherry, this is a weeping dwarf cherry from my son's front yard that he had me cut down. And this tree was about 12 feet tall and it was mature. And so this grain is just amazing. And so I let the grain do the decoration the
Wow.
way it runs straight down through the spoon. And then what I do is trying to make it as thin as I can on the end so it's usable. And I'm working on my facets and my secondary bevels. And then just to kind of stay with the theme, I did do a little bit of coal rosing. And
Cool.
that means that's a runic phrase for I am at peace. And
Mhm.
so just on the edge where there's nothing really interesting going on here anyway. So that's just like a little Easter egg that I put in there. And
Very
so
nice.
this will be for sale at my booth next week
Nice.
at a local farmer's market, and nobody will buy it because they don't know what they're looking at. And I
Yeah.
just like to display it. And so people will ask me, what is that? And I'm going to talk exactly about this,
Yeah.
about RUAC
Okay.
39 and what a great Viking spoon template this was.
I really like the grain. I mean, you didn't need to decorate that at all because the grain does all the work for you, of course. So don't worry about not putting any decoration on it. That is beautiful.
I loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, and such a lovely phrase for the runes. And that's a nice little Easter egg, like, putting those subtle decorations in there. That's so cool. And I don't think I've ever heard of a weeping dwarf cherry. So that's a new tree species as well for me.
I should have taken a picture of the tree itself. It was beautiful, but critters had gone underneath it and destroyed the roots. So it was on its way out anyway. And
Wow.
so most of the time when I do that, I boomerang a spoon back to the owner. And so he got a spoon from that tree on his birthday.
Oh, cool.
So,
That's fantastic. And I love that bringing a spoon back to the person too. That's a very cool thing.
thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Excellent. Thank you, Finley.
I have to get hold of some more cherry, I think.
Yeah. All right. Larry, I'm gonna spotlight you here. Beautiful, Larry. Nice.
Spalted maple.
Nice.
Since there wasn't a profile, I just took some liberties and made it like on my first one.
That's awesome. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Then on the second one, again,
Oh, hello.
the outline is there. But then
Oh,
Ah,
I suspended the bowl on the handle.
I
yeah.
like that a lot. I've not seen that before. How the bowl is like almost looks like it's been placed on top of the handle, on top of the neck.
Right.
That looks difficult to do as well. It's really
And
something.
then with a off piece of black walnut,
Whoa.
I did this with some piercing work
Oh, cool.
and ultra thin.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you drill holes for that piercing work, Larry, or did you work it with the
All
knife?
knife work.
Wow, that's incredible.
That is good.
That's really incredible.
I love black walnut as well. It's one thing, that's one wood species I would love to get hold of. The town I grew up in had a Norman castle. In the grounds of the castle, they have 5 black walnut trees. They're all pretty mature now. I did say to one of the rangers, because I knew him quite well one day, if you ever happen to trim any branches off one of those trees, he just laughed and went, I know what they are.
Right.
I'm trying to get hold of some, but it's so difficult to get hold of in the UK. That is lovely.
The black walnut that I got a hold of is really, really dark, and I love it. It's just a deep chocolate.
Nice. I'm fascinated by that.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
A lot of variation there too. That piercing work, I can't even imagine starting that just with a knife, Larry. That is very impressive.
I hadn't even thought of doing anything like that. I mean, that's good to see that that something very, very different and completely outside the box of what I would think would be possible.
Yeah.
It's really good to see that.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, who would like to go next? Just raise your hand, Patrice, and then Kate. All right, Patrice, you are in the spotlight.
Hopefully you can see it. My lighting's bad,
Yeah, I see.
but I got this gorgeous little chunk of Chinese elm from Ian Woodenbark.
Mm.
And I also thought, oh, that would so cool, but it's so hard. But it ended up just having really nice finishing, like
Mhm.
very smooth cuts, even though it was super hard. And so my side profile, like a little bit more basic.
Mhm.
Just because of how hard it was, and this is the best I could do. But Rachel encouraged me to go ahead and decorate it, and so I did like a minimalist kind of knot. It's not even really a knot, but just overlaying
Mhm.
lines, and then I wanted to do a skull. I don't know if there were any skull artifacts from that Viking era, but it's just something that I wanted to do. And so I think it still shows up and complements the grain. It's not
Yeah.
too overwhelming. And then when I put the pigment in, I used cocoa powder. Like it really brought out the lines in the grain
Mm.
as well a little bit. You can see it's a little bit lighter on the back.
Your
than
shading
on the
is
front.
phenomenal in your coal rosing, Patrice. Just like the sides of the skulls at the temples and then the overlapping lines, the shading is brilliant. That looks awesome.
I had to go over it quite a few times to get it as dark as I wanted, and just added extra hash marks
Mm.
for the shading. But it was a really cool template, and I really like the width of the handle for giving more room for decoration for sure. And
Nice.
then gave me some thing to play around with when I was sketching out like design ideas for the decoration. So that's cool. I definitely enjoyed that. And of course, doing a round bowl is always hard. So thanks for the
Yeah.
challenge.
It's something I
With that
struggle with a
part
lot.
for sure. But yeah, it was a gorgeous piece of wood. So that helped me get most of the way there. I think.
So with the crank of it being quite flat, most of the spoons that I've seen that came from York and Birka were actually quite flat with very little crank in them. And the coal rosing you've done with it being straight line, like a little basket weave going on, that sort of style of decoration was quite prominent as well around Birka. So you, without
Basket.
maybe wanting to, you've done one that's actually really close to being historically accurate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Really good.
Well,
Of
that's a
course,
surprise
skulls.
to
Who
me.
doesn't just love skulls? I mean, if I could
I
put skulls
know.
on everything, I would. So, yep, love it.
Hashtag never enough skulls. Thank you, Miles.
Way to do your research, Patrice. Nice job.
You
Yeah,
gotta bring
Didn't
up
do any research, but sure.
the skull rosing hashtag too.
That's right.
Yep.
So Dominic Pogbois, he coined the word skull rosing. So if any of you also coal rose a skull onto your spoons, please use the hashtag skull rosing,
Yeah,
and we'll get that going.
I'm definitely gonna have to try that now.
yeah, it's
Get
awesome.
some flames in there.
Yeah. Thanks, Miles.
Thanks, Patrice. That's
Stuff.
beautiful.
Yeah, really good.
All right, Kate, we have got you. You are on the spotlight. Good morning.
Good morning. So I did this. I just kind of just did a little regular crank. And then I don't know. I was just really, I've been obsessed with like the distaff lately, and I was thinking about like Vikings and how they just had like millions of sheep, and um like when they were conquering people, they were like, we need more pasture land for all our sheep, and like they just had so like that was like the thing, and they made their sails out of wool and stuff. Like they just had so many, it was such a big part of their lives, and like spinning wool was a huge part of everyday life. And
Yeah, it
so
really
I
was.
just put the distaff. I tried. It's not very, it's really hard to co-rose like wool or whatever,
I love
flax.
that.
But it's
Very
I tried to
nice.
put it in my stories better so you can see it, but
Good to see
you
it.
can kind of see it. I don't know. It's the spindle is here,
Nice.
and then the distaff. So it was like a distaff was a stick basically that you would like bunch the fiber, like either wool or flax was the other one that was common, and you
To
would just
linen.
kind of tie it on with like a ribbon or something so that it would stay on there, and that was like a third arm, so like you could hold it under your arm or like rest it on your leg depending if you were standing or sitting, and then you would take the fiber from the bundle and like spin it and like use the drop spindle. So anyways, I thought about the Norse goddess Frigg is one of her symbols is the distaff, because she's like spinning the yarn of like the world and like
Yeah.
weaving the future. So I don't know, I thought it was cool. I obviously like I thought about doing like a person holding one, but I was like too advanced.
Oh.
So anyway, it was uh, it was fun to try and practice. So anyways, I like this. I feel like it's a nice soup spoon
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I always end up making like a deeper bowl, but it's a nice one. So anyway, thank
Yeah,
you.
nice. I really like the co-rosing of the distaff, and you said about it's associated with the goddess Frigg, who's very much sort of like the wifely, homely, motherly type of embodiment in a goddess. But that comes from I've forgotten the guy's name, Icelandic chieftain from the 1200s. Oh, Morgan, what's his name?
Snorri.
Snorri Sturluson, that's the one. Yeah, that's sort of his version of things. Of course, that which a lot of people use as a decent, fairly decent source, although can be questioned by a lot of people, a lot of scholars looking into the age. But it's a massive source of information that we do have about the way that certain gods were thought of, and of course, like you said, spinning wool was huge, a huge thing for people within that era, because you had all your clothes were made from either wool or linen because of the sheep and the huge amount of flax they were growing. And so, this, like you said, the sails were made from wool, and you can imagine how much wool would go into a sail that would actually be able to pull a long ship along. Considering
Mhm.
some long ships were large enough to get about 300 people in,
That's crazy.
that's going to be a big old sail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really love the fact that you put a distaff
Mhm.
onto to show that association with that sort of craft association of people from Scandinavia during the Viking Age, because a lot of people automatically think when they say Viking, they think of the raids, the battles, the fighting, that sort of thing. But there was so much more to Viking society than just raiding and fighting and pillaging monasteries. So yeah, I really appreciate that you've put that on there. That's really good.
Yeah, and I think she was Odin's wife too or something. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
Odin's wife, mother to some of his children, not the mother of Thor, as would be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That was in fact someone else. But I forget now. I really should know all this. It's been a strange morning. But yeah, she's one of Odin's wives, or Odin's concubines, if you will. They had a lot of the Northern European and Western European stuff comes from a lot of Greek influence and ancient Roman influence. So a lot of the gods having multiple children with multiple spouses was a big thing. Yeah. But yes, I say I really, really, really love the fact you put this stuff on there to show there's another aspect of Viking life other than just fighting, which is something I concentrate on a lot as well. But trying to show other aspects of the age, not just the battles. So yeah, really love that.
The crafting back then, you had to make everything by hand. So I love
Yeah.
that. I'll make sure to I did see yours on the hashtag this morning, Kate. So we'll make sure to look at the picture to get some lighting, because that coal rosing, it really did turn out lovely. And then we'll also talk about this at the end of the call, but our next template is by Kate as well. And so it's another decorative template, Welsh love spoon. And so Kate, thank you so much for submitting that. I'm really excited for that template too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be hard. It's going to be a little hard. And I carved one and I'll post it today, but I want people to rethink about the symbols in their lives, and like, because I mean, I don't know. Welsh love spoons kind of bugs me when I first learned about them. I was like, ew, kissing, ew. But like, I was like, okay, well, this is like a growing edge for me. So let me just, get into it. So I think it will be a good challenge for me. I'm not an expert of carving them, so it'll be a challenge for me too. And I think like really fun chance to decorate. And it's cool that Larry did pierced work, because that's kind of like part of the challenge, is try to make a hole in your spoon. So
that's fantastic. Thank you for submitting that template. It's going to be an exciting one. And I know that you've met Love Spoon Carver as well. So it'll be cool to hear about that experience.
Yeah, I'm going to see if he'll do a talk, but I don't know if he will. But if he doesn't, then I'll just do one.
Well, need more Rise Up people to reach out to him to encourage that. Let us know. Well, thank you so much. Raise your hand if you would like to go next. All right, Michael, I'm going to spotlight you here quick. All right, Michael.
Yeah, good morning, Miles. Thanks for the template.
No worries.
Yeah, so I've had a number of comments. People were like, "What are you doing? That looks exactly like the template." I guess I'm known for putting my own foolish twist on spoons usually, but I just finally was like, okay, I'm gonna do the coal rosing thing. So I just kept it, with the template, with that flat handle, and I just my background, my education, I worked in mathematics, and my advisor was one of the foremost people in, the geometric patterns, in the mathematical study of geometric patterns. So I had to go with a basket weave, something geometrical. I don't think it's Viking-ish, but it is common thing to see on coal road spoons. So I did go in that direction, but so not a Viking theme, but I did have a lot of fun with it. I had just a nice encounter with a luthier who was retiring recently, and I picked up some knives from him, and one of them seemed to be really well set up for coal rosing. So that was a life changer in my coal rosing. It was a really good knife, and not specifically a coal rosing knife, but it worked really well for that. So I did that, and I just went for it. Like John said, it's the layout, that takes all the work, and I still made some mistakes. There's a few mistakes in there. But I was really happy with it. And, with that new knife, I really feel a lot more comfortable doing it. So, I'm probably going to have to do some more coal rosing, but, like some of the other people with a really fun grain, I also really like working with fun grain. So that's one of the things I'll have to do is like, do I have any plain wood sitting around? Where's the plain wood? So, but anyways, yeah, had a lot of fun with it, and thanks for putting it out there to get people like me to sort of, push us out of our regular routine. So really appreciate it. And Kate, looking forward to your template too. So thanks.
Yeah, your bowl shape on that, Michael's phenomenal. I have such a difficult time keeping something circular
Yeah.
and having a consistent
Yeah.
rim. That is gorgeous in
Yeah,
addition to
thanks.
your kohl rosing.
Yeah, thanks.
What
And,
was your
and you get
secret for that, Mike? What was your secret for that?
it's
A whole saw.
strangely enough, the bowl is exactly the size of the bottom of a can of beer. I mean, I don't know how that happened. You
Nice.
know, and it was really great. Kaylin actually got to see this in person last night.
That was cool.
And we got great West Coast representation here. West Coast carving really well represented on the call today. This is awesome. So
Yeah, and Michael, I'm always happy to give you my plain grain wood for an exchange of your really, really, really beautiful wood. So I
right.
can supply you
My-
some kohl rosing.
Well, I mean, then you'll be carving, dry figured maple, but
Never mind. Well, thank you so much.
thanks a lot.
Well, yeah, the kohl rosing there is, as I said to Patrice earlier, there's the straight lines and sort of a basket weave style of kohl rosing was quite prominent around Berkshire, and I think some of York as well. So yeah, you say it may not be Viking, but it's pretty close. So
Yeah.
It's good. Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
Phenomenal. Okay, who would like to go next? Bonnie? Okay, let me spotlight you here. And you're up, Bonnie. Hi.
Good morning. It's a really good morning. Good early morning here.
Yes.
I carved this out of plum that I got from Michael, and it took some planning to orient the grain so that I could have the pretty plum grain in the bowl, but have a plain surface to decorate. So it took a little bit of, it's better with that, isn't it? So I did some kohl rosing.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yes.
Got a little bit of a crank, but not much.
Good. I've got some plum like that somewhere in my basket.
It's so
never
pretty.
found out what the actual name of the tree was. There's only a few of them I've ever seen. It has like red leaves, I believe.
There are some ornamental plums that have red leaves.
Yeah.
Anyway,
kohl
fun
rosing is
template.
really good.
I really enjoy these templates that have the historical background, like the Vasa spoons.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating. It's fun to combine the historical with the present, and
Yes.
fun template. Thank you so much.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And I
That
love
was
that you
really
have
nice.
a slight saddleback sweep almost in your handle. Like it's really subtle, but your facets are really graceful, Bonnie. That's gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm still learning.
That is beautiful. It really is. I really love the fact that you've got the kohl rosing on the handle, and then of course the grain color change between the heart and sapwood in the bowl as well. So you've got grain and decoration making it stand out. Really love that.
I had carved 3 different designs on here before I finally decided on this one.
That definitely happens too.
Like, it makes it really smooth after you take it off 3 times.
Yeah.
Carving eraser. I've done that in kohl rosing quite a bit. But that interlocking pattern that you have is really lovely. And just remembering the ups and downs as you're kohl rosing it. There's a lot of detail that goes into that. And how cool from history that, we're still playing with some of these designs and appreciating them today. So very neat.
Yeah, really good.
Well
done.
You can raise your hand for who's ready to go next. Okay, John. All right. Oh,
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
I'm actually in Eugene, Oregon. Traveled up north to go to the track and field championships, but
Nice.
I brought a spoon along with me. I ended up doing 6. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. You may want to pause between each spoon. The camera's on a little bit of a delay just so that we can see it, hold it up as you're talking, and then that delay will catch up.
Okay. The I only brought one spoon with me here in Eugene, and but this was ended up doing 6, 3 different sizes, and this was the first one that I did. And here we go. So we're at an Airbnb in Eugene, and so I'm talking a little quietly because I don't know if the people below us can hear.
Ooh,
That's beautiful.
And I tried a few different techniques with each of the spoons. This one I chip carved and then decided I wanted to make the chip carving a little more visible.
nice.
And so then I put espresso grounds into it and pressed in it and then put the finish on top. And so with most of the spoons I did this time, I tried baking them. And so what I would do is I would chip carve. I'd then put some of the linseed oil and wax mixture. Actually, this one is just the linseed oil, and then press the espresso into it, and then I would bake it after I burnished it, and then I would bake it for an hour at 350. And it really brought out the baking. It really brought out some of the grain that you couldn't see at all, because this jacaranda wood is very very white and bland, but the baking was able to bring out some of that. But I really like the color that ended up coming out. So this one I did chip carved a tree, obviously, with a lot of really deep roots. It's almost like the roots ended up being the most visible thing in the spoon. The second one I did, I only brought this one with me, so I can't show the others, but they're on Instagram hashtag. The second one that I did, I tried carving a Celtic knot in it. It's the first time I've tried that. So it was a little challenging to me to make sure that all the ups and downs were correct. And then I thought it came out kind of nice. And then Rachel posted her knot that she was doing. And I said, oh, that's how you're supposed to do it. And it was just really amazing, the 3D effects and the stippling of the background she did and stuff. So, and then I made 2 small ones. One of them I cold roast a flower into the bowl, and then had like the stem and leaves coming down it. And then another one I chip carved, kind of a little bit of a geometric design in it, very simple. And then at the last 2, the medium-sized ones that I did kind of an abstract cold roasting, more of a real cold roasting with thin lines, and then and I did those kind of almost like a modern kind of style. One of them just arcs, and then the other one just accenting what the actual grain was showing. So this was fun because I got to experiment with trying a few different techniques. But I actually, of all of them, I think the very first one that I did, in lots of ways, was the most successful. I like how I ended up having a little crank, and then I experimented with how to do the crank on the different spoons. So this one, I put the crank, the angle right where the bowl meets the handle. And the second one I did, I made a curved neck in the center, so that all the crank happened gradually in that. And then I tried a few other things, few other different little ways of attaching the neck, but it was fun because I got to try a whole bunch of different little things. And Patrice, yeah, yes, Patrice, the very next one I do, I promise I will try some of your beautiful woods. Patrice gave me a refrigerator full of wood when she moved, and so
That's phenomenal.
this next template will be a lot of fun.
I can't wait to see
That'll
what
be a
you
lot
do
of
with
fun to
those.
do the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Are you still in there?
Yeah, I'm leaving
Yeah,
next week,
well,
but I love that
I mean-
tree and the roots design that you did, and I hope you won't mind if I steal that for one of my future designs. It's really cool.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
please do, because I want to see how you do it. You're so artistic in the way you do your things, and I want to say thanks to everybody that that posted pictures of their spoons, because every day I would see a new one, and Ian goes, "Oh, that's a new way of doing the crank. That's a new way of doing the decoration. It's a new way to do the thickness." And this one's not really that comfortable to eat out of because of the thick bowl. But
It's a
I'm
perfect.
working on getting my bowls thinner. Work in progress.
It's a perfect short-handled serving.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John. I love making short-handled serving spoons because
Yeah.
when you think about side dishes and you're passing them around the table, a long-handled spoon tends to fall out of the dish, but those short-handled ones are perfect for passing dishes. And so cool to see the chip carving on the inside of the bowl as well. That's a neat effect, and I'm excited to look at the Instagram pictures of your other decorations. Again, Miles, thank you for a template that's pushed the creativity in really, really cool ways. So thank you, John. And
I like the fact that
Mhm.
I really like the fact that the decoration has gone into the bowl as well, because a lot of the spoons from Birka had kohlrosing in the bowl. So it wasn't just something reserved for the handle. A lot of them did go into the bowl. They did actually decorate the bowl as well. Whether they were purely decorative spoons or they were indeed used every day, who knows? We'll never know. But the fact that you've done that as well, I really like that.
Yeah.
Really good.
So
this is why I was quite excited about this, because everyone's going to be doing something a bit different. It is really good.
And thanks for bringing a spoon along on your trip too. That's a fun one. All right. Paul, did you carve a spoon, or do you want to do a reveal? Yeah. All right. I've got ones. Give me 1 second. All right. Paul, you are good to go.
Okay. So that was the first one that I did.
Nice.
Not much crank on it. I actually thought the show and tell was last week, so I completely roughed the kohlrosing on these. It was Saturday morning before I went to work, and I am going to get this finished.
Nice.
But there's enough thickness on that, so at some point I'd hope to do it, but I've got to talk. I'm over at mother-in-law's, and it took me a lot longer to get over here than I expected due to holiday traffic. Because I was going to knife that off and redo it, because there's enough thickness to do that.
Yeah.
I've done that before when I've not been happy, because I generally go quite chunky on most things. So that was the first one. And then I decided, well, I'll make another one.
Nice.
But that's significantly smaller. Partly because it was just about big enough was a piece of wood. And then I chipped the bowl off.
Oh.
No.
Okay, we're downsizing then. So I thought, well, I can downsize all of it. The only thing I couldn't downsize was the neck. That was already done at that point. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, I thought Viking axe, and then just what's fast? Stab it a lot. So that was just a fast bit of decoration to sort of like, well, so, but as I say, there's not much crank in these, but thanks, Miles. It was a fantastic template, was this?
Yeah.
But, no, I only started on 15th of May, so.
Oh, right.
And normally I work a Saturday, so it'd be rare for me to actually join. But I booked the day off because I was coming over here, and I thought I'll put the day off because I suddenly found out I've got 19 days holiday left. It's like, okay.
Use those. More spoon carving time.
Yeah, good,
Yeah,
good effort
so
there, especially with the
I
roll.
did do a third one, which I was working on, which John saw this morning in birch. Unfortunately, I carved not from bark side, I carved from the other side, and it cracked. And the third thing is, I left it at home.
Oh, no.
Other than that, it was a nice spoon. I've decided I'm going to try and rescue it. I see I glued it to try and hold it together, and we'll see what happens with that one. But with it being birch, the coal rosin will actually show up quite well. But
Yeah.
this is cherry from my garden, so as I say, still learning.
Really lovely though. Beautiful spoons, and it's good to meet you as well. I don't think I've run across you on Rise Up. So welcome.
I think I might have done for about 5 minutes a week ago.
Well, cheers. Good to have you. And thank you so much for sharing your spoons.
Yes, thank you for them.
Okay, so I think it is, I think it is just me for my spoons as well. So I will spotlight myself quickly. And I love any challenge that pushes me to decorate my spoons. I think I enjoy some of the decorating even more than the carving, but I don't always give myself that extra time for each spoon. So this one is pretty fun. And when I printed out the template, I did a couple size variations. So I scaled it down to 85% to make a slightly smaller spoon. And then this one is out of lilac, but the lilac I had done a baking soda soak, and it turned a really muddy color, and I kind of lost my heartwood sapwood. So then I just roasted it in the oven, and it turned out beautifully. And lilac finishes like glass. It's one of the hardest woods I've ever tried to carve, but it also finishes really beautifully. And then this one I did the kind of Viking braid, the intertwined knot, and then instead of ending it at both spots, I just used kind of the natural form of the template with the points out there to extend those lines. And this is chip carving. So this is my small Viking spoon. So thank you. And then this other one was supposed to have a wide square handle, but I caught some grain change wrong, and it essentially ripped it off an entire handle. So I changed that as well, which impacted my decorating. But this one I scaled to 100%. And this bowl used to be much, much larger, but similar. I had a heck of a time trying to keep this a circular shape. So every time I made an adjustment, it got smaller and smaller and smaller. So the handle looks quite a bit out of proportion to this bowl, but it was because the bowl was supposed to be twice as large. The handle was supposed to be wider. But this one I had fun with some of I like for the Viking that they have kind of more mythology in their beliefs and religions. And so I did, I was chatting with John about the ravens, Hugin and Moonin, I think.
Yep.
And so they were supposed to both be this size, but again, the handle ripped off. So I had to shrink down one of them and simplify it. But this is based off of a pendant that was found on a burial ground. And so it was a brass pendant. And then in the middle is the new moon. There's a rune symbol. I can't remember what artifact this came from. So it's Moonin and Hugin. And then on the pendant, there was some knot work for the shoulders of the feathers, or of the shoulders of the wing.
Hunin and Munin.
Munin, thank you.
And Munin.
So then the second raven's quite a bit more simplified, just because I lost a lot of my handle. I would have loved them to be both this size, but it overall I think still really works with the bowl. And this one I kept that pretty heartwood sapwood split as well. So thank you again. The decorating, these were both I think my most ambitious chip carving I've ever done on this pair of spoons, and I'm really pleased with how they turned out. So thank you, and some fun side profiles as well.
Yeah, I like really like the way the bowl cranks up on the larger one as well, the front of the bowl.
Yeah,
that's something I find quite difficult, is to get a good bit of crank on the bowl without ending up with lots of short grain and just splitting it off accidentally.
Yeah. Yeah, this one I think it helped because the bowl was twice as large. So I think it was safe while I was doing most of the carving. And then when I carved it down smaller, it was supposed this one was intended to be kind of a call style. So I had it originally straight across so you could really get a lot of broth of a soup. But then again, I had a really difficult time keeping it circular. I kept blaming it on the lilac twisting when it dried, but I think it was just the fact that I can't carve a circle yet.
That's some really deep chip carving. And what I like about it is that it's not all the same depth.
Yeah.
That makes it really a better relief on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And even for some of these knots, I tried to like cut down the corners so that they looked like they were going behind and in front of each other. So it was a lot of work, and I used a standard chip knife. For my chip carving, I just have kind of one of the lamb's foot chip knives, but then I also have started using this a lot, which is I bought it for shrink pots. But this one, because I have a really hard time chipping curves, and so like the curves here and then at the shoulders and then around the head, I just start with this little tool. So for any of you that are looking at doing kind of curvy chip carving, this little tool can be super helpful for that as well. Thank you. I'm going to hop back into gallery view, and then we will share the hashtag. Now that we're hopping into the Instagram hashtags, you're welcome to take yourselves off mute, kind of go about the cabin. But again, Miles, this was an exciting show and tell, and I've really enjoyed seeing everyone's work here.
Yeah, me too. It's been really good. I really like the way that people have really run with different things and done something different each.
Yeah.
Whether it be cold rosing, chip carving, leaving the grain as is and not decorating and let that do the work. And some are cranky, some are not. Some have a very deep bowl. Oh, hello. I hadn't seen that one.
This one's fun. One, having a penguin with the floaty on. It's so darn cute. This one, Thomas did it. But this one has one of the more interesting, similarly to yours, where the bowl is detached from the handle a little bit, but he modeled it after the Enterprise. So it's a ship spoon. And I just love the flip-flop floating in the background. I think like this is just a super clever summertime spoon.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I don't think I see a penguin on there.
Well, and it's so fun because I feel like coal rosing a lot of times can be very serious, like, you know, patterns, getting replication, everything's perfect. And this one's just a penguin with a floaty on it. So it's pretty cute.
Cold rosing then.
Yes. And John, this one is yours. So we've got that beautiful tree, and then we've got the interlocking knots.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the first two that I did.
Nice.
And
those are lovely. Yeah, I'm always excited when there's photos on Instagram because the lighting is so lovely and they just really pop those designs. And then we've got Ian Glendenning, and I love that Ian just snuck a little bit of decoration in here to that neck of the handle. It's really subtle, but he always has the coolest chip carving. Tiny bit of paint and chips. That's a fun one from Ian.
Love the, I really like that they put it in the neck.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of that. Yeah.
Oh. I'm gonna have to maybe pop out the shed in a minute after all this and axe out a blank and then maybe do some stuff in the neck. That's quite inspiring. I never would have thought of decorating the neck. It's just not something you look at for decoration, is it?
No, not typically, but even for like a tactile nature, that might be kind of fun. Just hold the spoon and I forget about this entire side. So seeing the ruins earlier with the phrasing and now this neck carving, it's like bringing that whole extra landscape of the spoon into play. Oh, beautiful, John. These are a gorgeous collection. Oh, that's fun with the growth rings. That really shows. Neat. Lovely.
Yeah, and that's my that's the 6 I did. The one on the upper left is the it's a different position now, but the third one is the one with the flower. It also has the co-rosine in the bowl. And the one next to it was kind of an experiment. Didn't turn out the way I hoped, but and then the second and fifth ones, the lighter colored, those I did not bake. And the one on the left, I just kind of accented the green, and then the one number 5 on the right, I just kind of did an abstract swirl. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, very unique.
Rachel's, man, this is so beautiful. And she had a lot of stories on this as well. So you all should hop into her Instagram. The amount of like delicate removal. I can't remember what kind of knife she was using, but it looked like it was a tool to fix glasses or something. It was the tiniest thing ever to make.
Yeah, she had a little screwdriver that she sharpened the end to make a chisel, and then she also had a pointer kind of a thing. So it's, I mean, it's just so amazing just to see how she did the levels.
I just love how her chip lines are so clean. Mine always have little frayed pieces of wood all over them. They look great in the distance. Up close, it's a little bit different. Oh, this is awesome. A dog biting its own tail. We were chatting about this, I think last night. We were looking at the spoon design. So hopefully there'll be another photo of the spoon here soon. Here's Rachel's. She added in a really gorgeous knot, kind of a modern-esque style knot in this one. Yeah, and really lovely facets that just come up to that bowl. Her facets are always so thoughtful.
It's just another urn style, right, Miles?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, nice, John. Here we've got the photo. That's beautiful. Yeah, I wonder if this is oxidizing from just as it was drying out.
I think it must be. It's just because I didn't touch it again, it stayed dark, whereas I probably moved the rest of the bowl off and it like left it a bit paler. It's just birch, so it's
so cool. Yeah, I've never seen that coloration in birch.
Got some birch in the shed. I'm hoping it does something interesting with itself.
Yeah.
Kind of let it go on its own and have fun.
Yeah.
John, this is phenomenal. This is really beautiful.
Thank you for putting so much time into that layout because that turned out so good.
I'm really happy with it. The poplar spalded quite a bit, so it kind of looks like it's aged as well, so kind of plays into it. I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. Nice.
So there's my Viking stuff.
I saw the mallet with the Volk nut on it.
That's a troll cross on the bottom, like.
Yeah, the troll crosses don't actually have any. They're not historical. They're
no, that's like 1950s or something. It's ridiculous, but they're so
things
cool.
change over time, don't they? We can't do everything exactly as it does 1,000 years ago because I probably wouldn't even be alive now. I'd have been killed in battle years ago. I'm not doing that. Fascinated with the period, but definitely don't want to live in it.
Yeah, I know. Likewise, I think it's nice that we've been able to hold over the woodworking part of the culture, enjoy that without the other elements of it.
Again, with the paint. So paint, I think, was something that was, or pigment paint essentially would be something that would be used quite a lot in the Viking Age that I think doesn't get a lot of attention because it was entirely possible to mix linseed oil or flaxseed oil, whatever you want to call it, with different soils, different ground up tree bark, you would get different pigments then. And it is entirely possible that they would have, well, they did paint things. We know from pigments, we found paint fragments on things like the heads from ships
And the shields,
and
right?
decoration, shields,
The
exactly.
shields,
They
for
did
sure.
paint them. Yeah. We did use a form of paint, which was just ground up soil, tree bark, whatever, mixed with linseed oil, and just off they went, colorful as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
The
kind
big-
of wild when we think we know what it looked like in history, but so many
Yeah.
paint elements come off of statues and buildings and stone. And we think that, you know, if you go to a museum and you're just looking at stone carvings, it's all gray and monotone. But back in the day when it was created, it could have been really vibrant and different and had a different
Yeah.
even feel and connotation to the pieces. So yeah, that's very interesting. I know it's similar with like the Roman statues. Those often were not always plain, and so that's pretty cool.
One of the things, sorry to distract from the spoons a minute, one of the things that you'll find a lot with TV series and films and things like that is they'll always make Vikings or anyone who was considered a barbarian from way back when would be all sort of covered in dark leather and have really brooding and sort of a dark eeriness about them. But the fact is that the clothes from the Viking Age and previous were, the more colorful you were, the richer you were, because you could afford the stronger color in the dye. So people like kings, chieftains would be the front of the queue to get their clothes out of the dye pot, and then people with lower stature would have to wait longer, and so would not have as colorful clothing or just plain linen or wool. So the more colorful you are, the richer you were, because you were more standing out. And I think it was blue was one of the hardest ones to create. Not even some kings could afford a decent blue piece of clothing. A lot of it was like red or yellow, or even some of them were pink.
Yeah.
So that's something to remember about the Vikings. They weren't all covered in black and brown leather. It definitely wasn't the case.
I think that's cool, and such a different way of thinking about history, and again how we perceive things that are shown in TV just for that effect.
If anyone's seen The Northman,
Yeah.
the film that came out with Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, etc., not too long ago, that is actually very, very accurate. There's been a lot of scholars. They had a scholar called Neil Price who wrote a book called Children of Ash and Elm. He's also works for Uppsala University. He was one of the consultants on it, and they did actually listen to him. So it's an incredibly accurate film. So if anybody might be interested, it's worth a watch.
It has a lot of mythology in it too, which is neat to see that represented in the film, which is very cool as well.
Before I end up going on a huge rant, let's get back to the spoons.
Yes. This one I think is really beautiful, where kind of leaving that bark onto the handle, and then the cambium having that color and texture to it too.
Yeah.
It's really just lovely to keep that included in the wood, and some beautiful spalting in here too.
Does it say what wood species that is in the description? Because I can't see it on my phone.
No, doesn't have. Oh, willow. Right here. Yep.
Willow.
I read it 3 times, but willow. Another one I haven't carved yet. Oh, there we go. We've got a little.
Sneaking that one in.
Sneaking that one in. This piercing work is so cool, Larry. And that color just works well with, like, the whole thing looks really beautiful together. Nice. These spalting lines.
Yep.
Nice. Wow.
Those facets.
I know. His facets are always amazing. Like every time. Oh my goodness.
Very bold, aren't they? Very smooth going to the back.
Yep. Yeah. Even these back, like the whole back of the bowl is just smooth, and then you've got these 2 side by side facets. That's gorgeous.
That is a good one.
Elegant for sure.
Mm.
Oh, beautiful body. I'm glad we get to see this in color, that really beautiful reddish purple. Plum is just an incredible wood. Yeah, also really some nice facets here hooking into that corner.
How did everybody find the facets on the back of the handle transition into the neck? Because it's one part of it that I have a real problem with, because you've got two different grain directions coming into one place. How did everybody find that? If you did it that way.
Tricky but good for me.
Yeah.
I tried to do it in one go, so the grain was all
Yeah.
going to a little swoop.
Yeah.
Then leave the facets was kind of, I think. I'm trying to think. I've got one somewhere that.
And I'm trying to refresh. Instagram's got a bit of a hashtag problem. I don't know if you all have noticed, but not all the spoons are showing up at all the time. So I'm going to do a couple quick page refreshes to see if I can catch a few extra spoons. This one right here from Neil's wasn't showing up, but we've got it now. And he's got some beautiful chip carving there too. Look at that.
Yes.
That's really nice.
Really like on that one how half or just under half of the bowl is spalted, but the other half is still
Yes.
plain normal. Would that be beech or maple?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. He doesn't have it on there, but it is beautiful.
Looks like beech.
How that zone line just cuts it, and then the spalting starts on that side. It's gorgeous. Even just this tiny pierced little cross, that little detail in the decoration is so neat.
Those are just typical chip carving techniques on the outside of the handle, but it just fits right in it. Like it just fits this Viking style spoon. It's so cool.
It's a really nice one. Glad we go.
Click on, oh, there's some more of Toby's in the top middle.
Top middle. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Ooh, oh, there we go. That's gorgeous. Inside the bowl.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I said, that was a very prominent thing in the spoons from Birka's to actually have coal rosing inside the bowl. So yeah, that's really good.
That's a lot of curves right there.
I know.
That is dedication, isn't it?
That's some serious dedication.
Smooth as well.
Says the symmetry is very frustrating to aim for, but I think he did a very good job. Awesome. Viking Hound. Really nice job from Toby. And then this one I don't think we've seen yet either. Nice for Rachel, her early spoons.
Yeah.
Just that layout. So cool. I'm gonna do one more refresh. Yep, you can go by, Alison.
I think it's really good that some people have not decorated as well, because as I say, the more decorated something was, the more expensive it was. So only the richer people in society would be able to afford it, and yet those who were at the bottom rung of the societal ladder would not have been able to afford all the decorated everything. And so the undecorated ones are just as historically important as the decorated ones, because they show the breadth of what's available from the craftspeople at the time. They would actually be making stuff, their products, for the richer and poorer ends of society. So it is good that people haven't decorated as well, because it does show the, as I say, the breadth of styles or the breadth of work that would have been probably carried out at the time.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Oh, so cool. And
I know
then
there's a few I could mention if you want to search for them real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
We have Dave's carving. I think that there's no I.
There's no I.
Dave's.
Cute. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Patrice. Awesome. Nice shading and interlocking. That's beautiful.
Does that person staring at it, or does that rock staring at it freak anybody else out?
A little bit.
No, I can't unsee it.
That's like the cutest rock I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
I know there's one by Mrs. __ Nessie. That one's really
Um,
good.
MS or
MRS_.
MS, Messi.
Yeah, the first
Got
one.
one.
Yeah, you got it. Oh,
No,
Back.
go back.
go back a couple. Right there.
Go on.
MRS_, and it'll.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
The little Nessie spoon.
Mrs.
Yeah, I saw
Mrs. Loch Nessie.
That's so cute.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Oh my goodness. Look at his little tiny flippers. Thank you for bringing this one up, Patrice. I saw this the other day and I'm really excited. These Rayflex also in this wood are just wild. Cherry and laburnum?
Laburnum. Yeah, laburnum.
That's beautiful. That Nessie is so cute.
Her serpent.
Gareth, my fish is on fire. He did do one at the last Spoon Club we were at the beginning of this month. It's to be on his page. My fish is on fire 84. I think it was 84. Is that his name? 84. Yes, my fish is on fire 84.
Oh, yep, perfect. Right here.
In the middle, there it is.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Extended the handle a little bit. That's really cool. And beautiful finial. Those finials are always so tricky.
That was me.
Glad that made it into the video.
Yeah, being my usual cheerful self.
That's
Can we
great.
see Kate Mossy Wood?
Oh, yeah.
See her distaff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It kind of ended up being a little dark picture, but it's okay.
There you go.
Yeah. You can see the little twisting here. This is just beautiful wood as well, Kate. It's really
Look how round that is. You show off.
It's Madrone.
Oh, beautiful. Madrone's one of my favorites. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So the headscarf there was a very significant thing as well, because that most married women would wear a headscarf to hide their hair.
Yeah.
That was actually a fashion taken from the Muslim caliphates around southern Spain and into the Mediterranean, because it did have contact with those people. It was very fashionable as well to wear as an Islamic coin around your neck as a pendant.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Can you do Patrice's?
The delicate show Kate's one more time. The delicate coloring on that. It's just like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's art. I mean, it's so lightly done. It's just beautiful.
It would be impossible for me to be that light-handed with something.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Really impressive. All the work I've seen has been incredible.
Thank you for calling out names to get these photos too. I don't know what's going on with that hashtag.
Yeah, it's so annoying. I see some of the people's because I'm following them, but then I'm like, if I'm not following them, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of my favorite things. I think John might have been saying this earlier about when you're starting to carve a new template and it's a different design than you've ever approached. The hashtag is so cool just to see everyone's interpretation of the shape and to see how people are approaching a neck transition or a bowl, or are they adding facets, are they not? And that hashtag, I think over the last couple of years that I've been carving and just rise up the community, has helped my carving so much and has pushed me as a crafter. So we need to Instagram to get that fixed. We don't need to trend on their homepage, but we need our spoon challenge.
Yeah.
I know we need to be able to organize our stuff.
Yeah, this I love this skull as well because you didn't keep it perfectly symmetrical. It has a lot of character. Like it has a bit of a personality. Patrice, you did a really great job on that.
It's broken off.
How
Thank
did you do the eye sockets there, Patrice?
Just hash, just like lines one way, then lines the other way,
Okay.
then lines, just filling it in
Nice.
completely.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And of course, the arrangement with, in the setting is always top notch with you, Patrice.
Yeah, these
Don't forget
backdrops.
that's school rosing. Don't forget.
Skull Rosine, yeah.
So,
Hey, Michael, you haven't posted yours yet. Is that right?
I got distracted and forgot to take pictures, but I'll get it up there today. It's overcast this morning, so it's perfect light for taking pictures. But yeah, I'll get it out there this morning. But thanks for the reminder.
Could you go back to Ian's where he has the cordage? Sorry, maybe just we looked at it, but we didn't talk about it. And I just wanted to shout out how amazing that is and inspiring that is.
Bramble, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at all of the thorns that he has to get off that cordage. It's wild.
He blamed me for his spoon because he had a picture on the Fine Stirrers, our spoon group. And I told him there's a big flat space there. I said, surprised you've left it. It was nagging. He come back a few days later with his bramble cordage. Was going to leave it just as because of the nice grain in the wood.
We talked about it. We talked about it a little bit. The little dots, everybody can stab it, but his and Rachel's, those dots are just like the way they were 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. They're just really hard to do it right.
Yeah.
Do you know what tool they were? Somebody said Rachel had a little pointy thing.
Yeah, it almost looks to me, just because I wear glasses, it looks a lot like a glasses screwdriver that she sharpened. I don't think it was, but it very tiny. Oh, I think it was only in her stories. Maybe. Oh yeah, right here.
Yes.
Like a little pin.
Yeah.
Nice.
In style.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a micro screwdriver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you mine at some point. It's I just took a screwdriver and just took off the side, just basically try to make it a point.
Yeah, it's pretty ingenious. Perfect. I recommend everyone go and check out the hashtag to see if some additional ones show up for you. Again, hopefully Instagram will have that. Miles, thank you so much again for this template. It's been so fun. And before we hop off, I just wanted to show you all on the Rise Up webpage. So riseup.andcarve.com. We've got the Spoon Challenge 40, which is going to be August 13th. But the time is different. It's going to be 10 a.m. Eastern. So Kate gave us one more hour in the morning to rest for those on the West Coast. But just to note that time difference, I don't think we have any folks from Australia and New Zealand today, but that does impact them a little bit. It pushes it out later for them. But 3 p.m. UK time, and there are two variations, simplified kind of modern love spoon, and then the one with all the landscape for that iconography that's important to you. So Kate, I'm very excited about this, and I'm hopeful we can get that chat with the Love Spoon cover, but if not, I'm very excited just to see your work and to take on this spoon challenge as well.
Yeah, I think
I
it'll
hope
be
some
fun.
people. I hope some people show in progress hashtags also, because that's really so fascinating for me to see, people's thought process and techniques that they use.
Absolutely. That's a good call out, John.
Yeah, like the one I was working on, I've used a lot of different tools like, coping saw and like a drill actually and stuff. So, but I mean, I don't know. I thought it would be fun. It's the 40th template. So I felt like we needed something.
Big for it. Yeah. Show it up. Kind of like the riches of the Viking clothes will really decorate the most out of these. I think it also gives us all an extra chance for like a Valentine's or Galentine's Day 2 version throughout the year. So buy yourself some cake and celebrate yourself with your
Yeah. Totally.
Well, I'm going to stop the recording, but that does not mean anyone has to hop off. You're welcome to stay and talk.